The spaceport of Rendar-7 was never quiet. Ships roared in and out of the metallic docks like angry comets. Workers shouted over the hum of engines, and neon lights painted the night sky in streaks of blue and pink. But for Lior, a repair tech who lived in Dock Sector C, the chaos wasn't noise, it was home. He had lived here his whole life, fixing broken landing gears, cracked hull plates, fried power cores, and whatever else space travelers brought him. Rendar-7 wasn't a glamorous place, but it was honest, and he liked that. On this particular evening, as he was closing his shop, he noticed a small shuttle, sleek, silver, clearly expensive, coasting into Dock C with failing thrusters and a trail of smoke. "Great," Lior muttered. "Another rich tourist who thinks piloting is just point and shoot." He grabbed his toolkit and jogged toward the docking pad. But the moment the shuttle touched down, he realized something was off. The pilot stumbled out, coughing, weak. Her silver-white hair fell over her face, glowing faintly under the overhead lamps. She wore a dark travel cloak that looked too heavy for her trembling frame. And when she lifted her head, Lior froze. Her eyes were breathtaking. A deep violet, like 2 stars caught in crystal. "Hey!" Lior shouted, rushing toward her. "Are you okay?" She wobbled, blinked twice, and collapsed straight into his arms. For someone so elegant, she felt incredibly fragile. Lior held her carefully. Hey, stay with me." But she didn't respond. He didn't have time to think. He lifted her fully off the ground and carried her into his workshop, laying her gently on the cot he used for long nights. When he checked her vitals, he stopped. Her pulse was irregular, her skin cooler than normal, not human. Not from this system, at least. And around her neck hung a pendant glowing with a slow, rhythmic pulse, like a heartbeat. Whoever she was, she needed help. And Lior wasn't the type to ignore someone in trouble. Chapter 1. The Woman with Violet Eyes. It took almost an hour before the woman stirred. Lior had attached a small respirator to regulate her breathing and used his scanner to monitor her condition. She had signs of energy depletion, common in species who relied on bioluminal systems. It wasn't dangerous unless allowed to drop too far. She opened her eyes slowly. "Where am I?" "Dock C, Rendar-7. Lior replied softly. "You crashed. I pulled you out before your shuttle's thrusters combusted." She blinked at him, confused, then sat up abruptly with surprising strength. "You shouldn't have done that," she whispered. Lior raised an eyebrow. "Sorry? Next time I'll let you crash and explode." Her eyes widened, and then, unexpectedly, she laughed. A soft, melodic sound. "I didn't mean it like that," she said. "I just didn't want anyone involved." "Well, too late for that," Lior said, crossing his arms. "You're involved with me now." Something flickered across her face, amusement, and something deeper he couldn't place. "I'm Kaela," she finally said. "Lior." She touched the glowing pendant at her throat as if checking that it was still there. "Thank you for saving me," she said. "Truly." He shrugged. "I just did what anyone would." Her expression shifted, sad, almost bitter. "No," she whispered. "Not anyone." Chapter 2. A Secret Too Big to Hide. Kaela stayed in Lior's workshop for nearly 3 days. Not because she was physically unable to leave. Once she regained her strength, she moved with the grace of someone trained extensively, but because her shuttle's energy core had nearly melted and needed a full rebuild. And Lior refused to charge her for the repairs, even though the parts alone cost him more than his monthly rent. "I don't even know if I can repay you," Kaela said quietly. "Don't need repayment," Lior said, tightening a bolt. "Call it good karma." She watched him with those haunting violet eyes. "You help strangers often?" "Only the ones who fall out of the sky," She smiled, leaning against the doorway of his workshop. Over the next days, they talked about stars, about travel, about what they'd seen and dreamed of seeing. Kaela never gave details about where she was from, but the way she described the galaxy hinted at someone who'd traveled far more than anyone Lior had ever met. And yet, there was a lingering sadness behind her smiles, as if she carried a burden too heavy for her small frame. One night, when she stepped outside and looked up at the sky, Lior followed her. "Kaela," he said quietly, "you saved yourself by landing here. But what were you running from?" Her shoulders stiffened. And then she whispered, "Not what. Who?" She turned toward him, eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. "Lior," she said, voice trembling. "I didn't just crash. I was being hunted." "Hunted," he echoed. "By who?" Her next words shattered everything he thought he knew. "By people who want control over the wealth of the galaxy," Kaela said. "Because I'm the heir to it." Silence. She swallowed. "My family controls the Celestian vaults, the financial backbone of 12 star systems. And I'm next in line." Lior stared. "You mean you're—" "Yes," she said quietly. "One of the richest beings in existence." He exhaled. "Well, that explains the fancy shuttle." Her lips curved upward despite her fear. "You're taking this surprisingly well. I fix ships for a living. I've seen everything from drunken space pirates to glowing infants. A rich girl isn't going to shock me." Her eyes softened, deeply, painfully. "No one has ever treated me like this," she whispered. "Like a person, not a title." Lior shrugged lightly. "Around here, you're just Kaela." She stepped closer, her gaze warm, almost shimmering. "And that means more to me than you know." Chapter 3. The hunters arrived the next morning. Lior woke to the sound of thunder. Not thunder. Engines. Warships. He rushed outside. 3 sleek black vessels hovered over Dock C, marked with insignias of the Aeral Dominion, a rival power known for enforcing control through financial reclamation. Kaela stepped beside him, face pale. "They found me." The ships descended, and a squad of armored agents marched out. One of them approached, visor reflecting the neon lights. "Return the Celestian heiress to us," he commanded. "Now." Lior stepped in front of her instinctively. "Not happening." The agent tilted his head. "Human, you misunderstand. This is not a request." Kaela grabbed Lior's arm. "Please," she whispered. "Don't get involved." He didn't move. "You said that already," he murmured back. "Didn't listen then either." She looked at him, eyes glistening, fear mixed with something else. The agent raised a stun rifle. Lior reacted instantly. He grabbed Kaela's hand and sprinted toward the back of the docks as plasma fire erupted behind them. They ducked behind fuel crates as explosions rattled the air. "Lior." Kaela gasped. "You can't fight them." "Wasn't planning to," he said. "But I can outrun them." He used a manual override to drop a blast door, buying them seconds. They rushed into his workshop. "Your shuttle," Lior said. "It's almost ready." "It won't make it past their blockade," she warned. He smirked. "That's why we're not using your shuttle." Kaela blinked. "Then what are we?" Lior hit a switch. A hidden panel in the floor opened, and a compact, heavily modified Star Runner rose from the platform. "You built your own ship?" she whispered. "Hey," Lior shrugged. "Everyone needs a hobby." Kaela touched the hull reverently. This could actually work. He grinned. "Hold on, princess." She rolled her eyes. "Call me that again, and I'll eject you into space." Lior laughed, even with danger closing in around them. Together, they climbed in as the Dominion soldiers broke into the workshop. "Ready?" he asked. Kaela placed her hand over his. With you? Always. And they launched into the sky. Chapter 4. The pulse of two hearts. The chase through the atmosphere was brutal. The Dominion ships fired relentlessly, but Lior's handmaid Star Runner twisted, and Dove with impossible agility. Kaela operated the shields and navigation, guiding them through debris clouds and electromagnetic storms. At one point, a blast rocked the cockpit, throwing Lior forward. Kaela grabbed him, pulling him close. Lior, are you hurt? I'm fine, he grunted, but they're getting too close. Her pendant glowed brightly. She clutched it, whispered something in a language Lior didn't know. Suddenly, the ship's engines surged with energy far beyond their design. What did you? I shared my luminal reserve with the core, she said. It won't last long. They shot forward, leaving the Dominion ships far behind. Moments later, silence filled the cockpit. Lior exhaled deeply. We're clear. Kaela slumped in her seat, exhausted. He turned toward her. You didn't have to do that, risking your life for a ship. She shook her head. I wasn't saving the ship. She reached out and took his hand, gently, almost shyly. I was saving you. His heart stuttered. Kaela, she met his gaze, eyes shining with something beautiful and terrifying. No one has ever protected me like you did, she said softly. No one has ever cared about me, not for my title or my wealth, but for me. She moved closer, voice trembling. And I realized something when you stood in front of those soldiers. Lior swallowed. What? That I'm falling in love with you. The cockpit fell quiet except for the hum of the engines. Lior's pulse raced. Then he smiled. Funny, he whispered, because I think I've been falling since the moment you crashed into my life. Her breath hitched, and when their lips met, the stars outside shimmered like they were celebrating. Chapter 5, Destiny's Truth. Ending. They landed safely on a remote moon, hidden from Dominion signals. For hours, Kaela rested, recovering from the energy she'd transferred. Lior stayed near her the entire time, watching over her like she had become the center of his universe. And maybe she had. When she woke, she took his hand immediately. Lior, she said softly, I can't stay hidden forever. I have to return. My people need me. He nodded slowly, forcing a smile. I know, but, she whispered, squeezing his hand, I don't want to go back alone. His chest tightened. Kaela, I'm just a mechanic. No, she said firmly. You're the man who risked everything for me. You're the man I love. And I don't care about status or power. I care about you. She leaned her forehead against his. Come with me. Lior stared into her violet eyes, eyes that held galaxies, futures, possibilities he'd never dreamed of. Kaela, he whispered, you crashed into my world, and you changed it forever. He lifted her chin gently. I'll go anywhere with you. Her smile was brighter than any star. They left the moon together, not as mechanic and heiress, but as partners in destiny. And as their ship soared into the cosmos, Kaela whispered against his shoulder, Maybe you saved me by chance, but I loved you by destiny. Lior held her close. Then destiny chose right. Together, hand in hand, they launched toward a future neither could have imagined, where love mattered more than wealth, where courage mattered more than bloodlines, and where a simple mechanic from Dock C became the man who captured the heart of the wealthiest woman in the galaxy. And perhaps the universe.